Hello, beautiful, and welcome to day 3. That's right, it's already day 3 of the Incoming Paper Challenge. So, today we are talking about how not to forget or lose an important paper again using the free action file. And the action file is what we've been talking about this week. This is what you can put together yourself, probably with mostly supplies that you already have at home. So, it's very easy to get started with the action file, and it's definitely something that is out of the box thinking and has been amazing for those who've really committed and tried it out. And I just hear so often how it's just been such a huge help to people. So hopefully you're finding that it's something that's helping you. If you're brand new to it, then this is a perfect week for you to learn about it and learn tips and tricks to help get up and running with it, because it's a different way of thinking, right? It's not our usual way of thinking. So I already asked you in the chat area, what is your biggest fear with papers? What is it about papers that stresses you out the most? What are you afraid that might happen if you don't get control of them? All of that good stuff, because I know that papers are some of the most stressful things that we ever have to organize and deal with in our homes. So I would love to hear, what are your biggest fears? And yeah. All right. So today is also, like I said, day 3. It is part of the Incoming Papers Challenge. Now, if you've not already registered, just because this is the last day of the challenge, that does not mean that you've missed out. You can still register, and you will get access to the challenge schedule page, which has everything from the challenge all right there on one page for you. So if you're already registered, check your challenge schedule page to make sure that any replays, any downloads, anything that you might have missed, it's all in that one spot. If you've not registered yet, then that challenge schedule page will be up until approximately, I think it's up until next week, which would be, that's a very good question, right? Let me pull up my calendar. So I think it is up until the 26th, March 26th evening. So make sure, if you've not already, go ahead and register so you can check out the challenge schedule page so you won't be missing anything important from there. And today we are talking about how to make sure that you don't forget to check your action file and that you actually do the things that you've put in there, especially if you're an out of sight, out of mind person. The action file can seem really scary if you think about putting your really important to-dos in a file folder where you can't see them. That could be terrifying, right? So I have some tips and tricks that I'm sharing, how to make sure that you can keep the important stuff in sight and remember it, how to remember to use it and actually put things in and take things out as needed, as well as how to break things down into small steps and work this into your entire paper system. I'll also tell you with the paper path system, that's the system that I created of how your papers can flow in your home to their final resting place. I will tell you a little bit about what that paper path system is. So if you were interested in doing this, making the rest of your papers extremely easy to get organized and to manage on a daily basis, without using a whole lot of time or stress or energy, then you could check out the Paper Path course, because that takes you step by step through how to build this super simple system to organize absolutely all of the papers in your home. And I share a bunch of tools with you that make it easier and all that good stuff. So like I said, if you've not registered yet, register today. We are finishing up with how to make this a habit, make it stick. All right, so in the chat area, before we get going, I wanted to see what people have said. As you hop in, also tell me who you are, where you're joining me from. Let's see. Arnett is here. Hi, Arnett. She says, aloha from Hawaii. And lovely Marie, she says, another great day to see what's in store. Remember, we got this. And we're all doing an awesome job. Keep up the good work. Live from Alaska. Thank you. Yes, lovely Marie. So right. You've got this and you're doing great work. Thank you. Sherry is here. Welcome from LA. And Kimberly from Connecticut. Hi, Kimberly and Melody. Melody says her biggest fear is having too many papers to go through, sort, purge, and shred, and not enough time to accomplish it. right? Yeah, let me know if you can relate. I'm pretty sure Melody is not the only one that is terrified of the amount of papers to go through. Hi, Melanie. Welcome. Good to see you. And Kathleen is here. She says, glad to be here for day 3. Her biggest fear is papers getting piled up and missing a deadline or a due date and incurring a late charge or missing an opportunity. I can completely understand that one. That was one of my biggest fears as well. Something really bad happening because I had a paper pile and did not realize there was something in there slowly catching fire, as I like to call it. Something bad is happening. So, yep, I hear you, Kathleen. I bet you're not the only one also. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you here. Welcome. And she says her biggest fear is discarding something that she might need. Ooh, I hear that one a lot. Yeah. Sherry says, too darn many of them. Melanie said, biggest fear, missing a quote unquote check in the mail. Yeah, that would be tragic if you were to just shred it by accident or not even find it until it's expired. That's never fun. Janae says, I'd love to register, but I can't afford right now. Well, the challenge itself is free. So feel free to register for the challenge if you would like to. It's just the Paper Path course that has a cost to it. And it's actually not too high of a cost really either, but I completely understand budgets. The challenge is free, and I hope that you will register for the challenge if you haven't. Terry says, handling boxes and boxes of papers from years and years ago, as well as several moves. That is the biggest fear. Yeah, I can understand that. Denise says, I'm here. Hi, Denise. Lovely Marie says her fear, just forgetting what folder they are filed in or how long to keep them. Also, overflowing the binders. That is absolutely fair, right? So Janae from Arizona, or Janae as, I think it's Janae, Arizona. I think that's what you're trying to say, which is awesome. Welcome. Sharon's here. Good morning. I can't seem to get caught up with all the paperwork. Business, personal, and fun. Yes, 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 yes. That's a good fear. Well, not good fear. That's a valid fear. Sheila's here from New York. And Marcia, missing the deadline for paying a large bill and not knowing until a week later when you get notified. Yes, I hear ya. Sonia from New York City. Fear, I'll not complete the Swedish death cleaning before I depart. Oh, yes, right. There's some truth to that. We want to make sure that our loved ones are taken care of and not buried in our paperwork and other stuff. Ugh. Eloise's biggest fear is having paper clutter scroll throughout our home like my mother had in hers. Oh, yes. I hear ya. That's a good one. Kimberly says, definitely agree with Melody. Yeah, right? Sheila, finding time each day before things pile up. Yeah. Lori says, hi from Cleveland, Ohio. What did you say we can sign up for? She says, I fear out of sight, out of mind. So what I said that you can sign up for is if you've not registered for the challenge yet, then when you do, you will get access to the challenge schedule page. And if you've missed anything, or if you're joining and it's not day 1, then everything is there. So you won't have missed anything. So that's free. And then, of course, the Paper Path course, if you wanted to learn how to organize all the rest of your papers, I break it down into those little tiny steps. So that's the other thing that you can sign up for. The Paper Path course is not free, but it's at a very good price level right now. And it's going to be going up in the near future. Flowers, Ellen from Brooklyn. She says, love being here. I have too many papers with computer information, books I want to read, funny sayings, measurements of the rooms in my apartment, and so much more, right? All those reference papers, those can pile up too. Yeah, good one. Love it, Ellen. Well, you guys are in the right place today because today we are making it stick with our action file, and that action file will hopefully help reduce all of those piles. It will give you more confidence with your papers, and you will feel like you are more in control, at least of the really important stuff like those bills, making sure that those get paid on time, making sure that you don't lose something important. And with that Paper Path system, that helps just reduce the rest of the papers. It even includes a whole section on the onion method of sorting, which makes sorting through a ton of papers so much easier. So you're in the right place, beautiful, and I'm glad that you're here with me. Well, let's get started, all right? How to break it down into small steps. Now, today we're talking about the action file, how to break the action file down into small steps. But those of you who've been following me for any amount of time know how I believe so strongly in breaking things down into small steps in order to reduce the overwhelm. So breaking things down into small steps, some of these techniques that we're talking about can work on other areas, other papers, other things, other areas of your life. So while we're talking about the action file, this is actually a good concept for in general as well. So let's talk about how to break it down into small steps, right? One small step I've already done for you with the action file. I already broke it down into this small step. Instead of looking at the action file and thinking, oh, I have all of these folders that I have to check and all of these folders that I have to do something with. You don't. You have one folder that you have to remember to check, and only one, right? Just your to-do folder. So you only really need to check and make a habit of checking your to-do folder. The others, when it gets full, like I say, when it gets full, it gets finished, or the to file folder, when it gets full, it gets filed. You could wait until it gets full if you wanted to. You could wait until you have extra time, or you're looking for one of those more mindless tasks. It does not have to be something where you set a reminder to check it or anything like that. It will tell you when it needs to be checked because it will get full. It will, if you have extra time, it's something that you can easily grab and just knock out a bunch of papers in there, even before it's full. But it's not going to catch fire, like I say. So those would be the folders like to enter, to read, to scan, to file. Most of your custom folders that you might set up for your action file that are unique to you, those are not necessarily ones that we have to build a habit around. So it's already broken down in a small step where you take something bigger, like your action file with up to 10 folders at the most, and you break it down to the small step of, okay, well, there's only one that I need to actually check on a regular basis and really pay attention to. So that's a much smaller step when you're looking at it, right? Knowing that there's only one that you really need to actually be concerned about. Now, remember, here's your small step for right this moment. If you're enjoying this series, make sure to click the heart or the like button and share this video. Click share and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications when I'm going live, all those good things. But let me know that you're liking the series so I know to keep doing stuff like this by clicking the heart and the like. That always helps me out. So another way to break things down into small steps, this has to do with mindset, right? Reframing the way that you're thinking about your action file. So sometimes breaking something down into a smaller step has nothing to do with anything physical or even rewriting the task besides changing how you're thinking about it. So when we reframe our thinking about our action file, and the to-do folder usually is the one that can be stressful, the to-do folder, instead of thinking about the to-do folder as look at all that I have to do, break it down into, okay, well, maybe checking your to-do folder when you need to go back and check on it every once in a while, right? Maybe just checking it does not mean you have to actually do all the things in the folder. So when you think about you have to check your to-do folder regularly, that does not mean you have to schedule an hour or two to sit down and do all the tasks, right? When you're checking your to-do folder, instead of thinking about all that you have to do, checking it is just looking through your to-do folder, seeing what needs to be done before the next time you plan to check it, right? You don't have to do it right then. You just need to make sure that you know what's coming up as a deadline, that everything that you're doing gets done on time within there. So you're going to pull it out or somehow, we'll talk about that, somehow make a note of, okay, these have to be done. We do that with the Path membership. Our Pathfinders, once a week on Mondays for 30 minutes, we meet, we plan out our week. And one of the things we do when we do our week plan for that 30-minute live session is we pull out our action files to-do folder and we look through it. And we don't do anything in there besides, okay, these are the things that have the deadlines. These are the things that are the highest priority for this week. That's it. You're just checking it, right? So change how you think about the to-do folder. It is okay to open it up, look through it, and put it back. Then also change the way that you're thinking. You don't have to do it all at once. So think 5 minutes. Do you have 5 minutes while the coffee's brewing? Great. Go through your to-do folder, see what you can complete in 5 minutes. Or every once in a while, pull out one paper. I call it paper roulette, like to do paper roulette. Pull out one paper and do whatever the task is that paper needs. Sometimes that's going to be super simple and it's just like fill out the RSVP card and put it in the mail. Sometimes it's going to be longer. That's why I call it roulette. But pull out one paper and do it every once in a while as kind of having fun with it. Give your to-do folder a fun name. So who gets inspired and really wants to look at a to-do folder? Not me. It sounds awful. So give it a fun name. Maybe call it your future success folder or things about to be done folder, whatever it is. You can also give a fun name to the action of checking it. Instead of checking your to-do folder, you could be browsing your to-dos. You're browsing through it. You're not actually doing them. So it's all in the mindset. Reframing your thinking is another way of breaking things down into smaller steps in your brain before you even touch it. So tell me in the comments really quickly, if you've not already told me, are you already a Pathfinder? Are you one of my Path members? I would love to hear which of my members are here and how it's been working for you. Has it helped? Have you enjoyed being a Path member? And next we are going to talk about making it a game. I'm going to hop over to the comments really quickly before we do, but making your action file to-do folder and other folders a game can be a game changer for your folders. And I asked about the Pathfinders because tomorrow, if you are a Path member during our session, tomorrow I'm going to share a bingo template for to-do bingo inspired by our Path member, CJ. So all of our Path members tomorrow will get a way to turn your to-do list into a game. I'll share the bingo template with you and we'll talk about making it into a fun bingo game. So if you're not already a Pathfinder, please join, but let me know. Are you a Pathfinder? Tell me in the comments. I know that we've got several here. Hey, Cheryl. Want to say hi to Cheryl. Lovely Marie, we were talking about what your paper fears are, right? She says, being held accountable for getting things done in a timely manner, which means taking care of it right away. That's why I love these videos and the Pathfinder group. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, you are rocking it as a Pathfinder too. She says, I get so much done when working side by side in the group. I didn't realize that it's not all that hard than what we make it. Yeah, right? So much easier, especially when you're in a fun environment. Curry says, loving this from Texas. Biggest fear, so many papers, so little time. Lori says, when there's so much in the folder, do you put items in the order you need to do the task? Sometimes, yes. If that helps you, then putting it, at least the front ones, like pull out the ones that are priority and put those in the front. I don't worry about the random other little things that don't matter as far as what order they get done in. I don't put those in order, but I will often, when I browse my to-dos, I will put the higher priority ones on the top towards the front. So that way they're just a little bit easier for me to see. So yeah, that's a good one. Sheila says, I'm not currently a Pathfinder member. Oh, that's okay. I love you anyways, but I would love to have you join us if you ever wanted to. Eloise says, Path member, and yes, it has helped! Exclamation point. Thank you. You're so welcome. Jeannie says, yes, she is. And so is Jackie. Jackie's a Path member. Lori says, love being a Path member, working on getting items in appropriate folders, and now need to start working from the folders, especially during group hikes. I love it. Helene says, yes, I need to get back into the groove though. Yeah, absolutely. Melody says, yes, I am a Path member. I'm enjoying being in the group, learning how to navigate your website. Aw, I love it. I'm so glad that you are enjoying being in the group. And yeah, well, the welcome, the bonus for the Paper Path course, the bonus that comes with it right now through the 26th is our welcome party. And if you're already a Path member or you already own the course, you'll also be invited to the welcome party, which will help with that website navigation too. We'll walk through all of it. So I'm so glad. Ellen says, I'm a Pathfinder member. I was very involved in it and have notebooks with a lot of notes from the talks. I haven't been involved in a while, but I'm trying to start my own flower business. Yes, I remember you and your flowers. Oh, that's so cool. I'm so glad that you're getting really into it. Sandy says, Path member, love the group hikes. Awesome. So Corita says, yes, I enjoy learning. Yeah, right? I love to learn too. You and me both. All right, so how do you turn this action file into a game, right? Because making it a game is a great way to break it down into a smaller step, because then our brain sees it as something smaller and more fun. It breaks down that resistance. So I already mentioned to-do roulette, right? So to-do roulette is just, if you have some time, grab one paper randomly out of your action file and do it. Sometimes you will get very lucky and it's a 5-minute task. Sometimes you'll get unlucky and it's longer, but at least it breaks down that barrier of starting, right? It's not so scary to get started. Another option is a 15-minute challenge. You can set a timer, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever amount of time you have, and just see how much you can complete from your to-do folder in 15 minutes. So you can go through the to-do folder, find the quick tasks, see how many of them you can get done really quickly, or how many to enter papers you can enter in 15 minutes. How many papers can you file in 15 minutes? So whatever amount of time you have, you can do some work in your action file and set a timer and actually make it into a fun game. Another way that is reframing and kind of a game, adding things to your daily done lists. So instead of just a to-do list where we're keeping track of things that we have to do, have a list of all the things you've done that day. So you can celebrate, you can really see, okay, I've done a bunch of things. And you can call it your to-done list, you can call it your ta-da list, whatever you want to call it, and make it something really fun of, okay, well, how much can I add to my to-done list, my ta-da list today? And you can also share your successes, because if you are part of the free Home Challenges Facebook group or the Path members private Facebook group, the Campfire group, whichever one you're a part of, if you share your successes, hey, I just got through 10, papers in my to enter file, or my to file file's empty. Posting your successes to a group allows you to really feel the celebration and the success of it, especially if it's in a group where other people understand. So you're going to get the feedback of great job and oh my goodness, that's so wonderful. So sharing your successes is a great way to do it. Plus, finding just action file buddies. This can be a friend, a neighbor, somebody at church. It could be somebody from miles away if you connect through Zoom. Or it could be fellow Pathfinders. If you join the Path membership, we work on our action files side by side together all the time. During our week planning sessions, our office hour sessions, the group hikes, all of these sessions are not just sessions where we sit around and listen to me and learn something new. All of these are sessions where we're doing something. We're actively getting our to-do list done versus just getting ideas for more things we could do, which is not helpful. So during each of these sessions, that's the type of session you could either create with a friend or join the Pathfinders if you wanted to, and have somebody to be working side by side with, and that will kind of hold you accountable without the ick of accountability, right? So try that out. And remember, if you are a Pathfinder, then tomorrow during our Thursday session, our weekly check-in, I will share a bingo template with you. So you can create to-do bingo for your week and make that into a game. So the more you can make it into a game, that actually is a way of turning it into a small step, because we're minimizing the size and the stress and the overwhelm of a project. And we're making it very small and easy and attainable and doable for our brain. So that's another way to do a small step. So we talked as far as small steps, we've talked about there's only one folder to check. So I did that small step for you, right? I built it so there's only one folder that you need to check. You don't need to check the other folders consistently. We talked about reframing your thinking, right? Give it a fun name. Think of browsing your to-dos instead of, having to check your to-do folder and actually doing all of them. Renaming, renaming your folder, all of that good stuff. And then we talked about making it a game, right? Minimizing how big this project feels for your brain and making it sound more attainable, more doable, less huge, more fun. So if you can make it a game, whether it's the to-do bingo, the roulette, or the 15-minute challenge, whatever it is, then it makes it so much easier and smaller in your brain. So next we're going to talk about, okay, that's great, but I'm new to this, or I'm an out of sight, out of mind person. How do I remember to use my action file? How do I remember what's important in it so I don't forget to actually do some of these things if they're not in my sight and I'm not used to checking it yet? So that's what we're talking about next. Really quickly, I want to go over to the chat. Lori says, what day is the welcome party? It is April 4th, I believe. Yes. Thursday, April 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So Thursday, April 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time is the bonus welcome party. And that's that bonus session that you get if you sign up for the Paper Path course between now and March 26th. So grab the Paper Path course, you get the bonus welcome party. That will give you a fast start to getting through your Paper Path course. Plus, right now, if you purchase the Paper Path course, you can also get, if you're not already a Path member, you can get 1 free month of the Path membership to try it out. So it's kind of a risk-free type of an offer. Try out the Path membership, see if it's for you. If not, no risk. You can just say, nope, not for me. And if it is for you, then you'll know. You'll get a free month out of it. Also, with the Paper Path course, you do have 7 days after buying it to say, you know what, this isn't really for me, so I want a refund, and you can get a full refund. So you've got that guarantee as well. You can try it, and you've got up to 7 days. If you've done the work and it's not for you, then you can get a refund. So try to make it as risk-free as possible, because I know how much the course changes things for people and how well it works, that I don't worry about giving refunds too much. I rarely have anybody ask for a refund. So you have that extra guarantee. If you're not sure if it's for you, feel free, sign up, and you've got that risk-free time, and you will have the welcome party. So you'll get the fast start. It's a good question. Good question, Lori. Marcia says, yes, I am a Pathfinder member. And Terry says, not a member. I still work full-time. When is the weekly call? So we have several different things that we do throughout the week. If you still work full-time, sometimes it is harder to join us live, and that's absolutely fair. I understand. But the week planning sessions are Mondays at 12:30 Eastern Time. And we have the office hours and group hikes are generally Mondays after the week planning session. They start at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And we have our Thursday sessions. Those are just our weekly check-ins. Those are at noon Eastern Time on Thursdays, right after the public Thursday talks. And then group hikes we also do on every other Saturday. We have a 2-hour group hike every other Saturday. And then, of course, each of these have the replay afterwards. So the group hike, the office hours, which people can ask questions and get live answers and hear each other's live answers, or they can get work done, or both. Those replays are like being there live a lot of times. So even I use the replays often. Good question. And the group hike is where we hop on Zoom. She asks, when is the weekly call and what's the group hike? The group hike is where we hop on Zoom together for between 1 to 2 hours. We do have some evening ones occasionally on a Thursday evening, but we just get work done. And I put on good music. We work for a sprint, and then we take a break. If you have questions, then you can ask and I'll answer in the breaks or in the chat. But it's just so nice to have other people in the room with you. And I'll give you suggestions of work to do if you want to do some of the group work, or you can bring your own. If you need to paint your nails, you can paint your nails. If you need to work on a massive work project, you can work on a work project. I've had people join me from work while they're working, and they will actually get their work done while they're on Zoom with us. So yeah. So Corrito says, I have so many paper and plastic folders, carpets, Office Depot becoming my Nordstrom. I need to go to a detox paper shopping. Oh, that's cute. I love it. Yes, I need paper detox. Jenny says, I'm not a Path member, but I do intend on becoming one. Oh, I would love that. We would love to have you. Yeah, so you can become one for a free month with the Paper Path course right now if you grab that. If not, then that's fine. You can always go to SusannaK.com and join there, and you can cancel anytime, but I would love to have you. Robin's like me. She says, oh, yes. I'm an out of sight, out of mind person, which is crazy when it's a big pile of mixed to-dos and stuff. You and me both. We are kindred, out of sight, out of mind spirits. Yes, absolutely. And this, the next thing I'm going to share with you, will help you understand some ways to get around that one. Yeah, Jenny says also maybe the paper path course. That would be wonderful. Yeah, they work so well together. They really do. Lovely Marie, are we able to view the chat on the replays so we can take notes of what the people share? Absolutely. Yes. As members, for all of the member events, if there is a chat, if anything's really said in the chat, then I include that chat with the replay. Absolutely. Good questions. I love it. I love it. All right. So I told you that next we are talking about how to remember to check and use your action file. So yesterday we talked a little bit about how placing your action file in the right place in your home is going to help you remember to use it. The best placement when you're first starting is along the walkway that you already take with your mail or where you drop your mail normally. So if you drop it in the middle of the kitchen counter, put your action file literally in the middle of the kitchen counter. So when you go to drop your mail, it's there. And oh, that's right. And you can put it in really quickly. So that's the easiest way. Work with the habits that you already have, and it makes it so much easier. So put it exactly where you drop your mail or drop your incoming papers, and it's going to be much easier to remember to put the papers into it. After you've gotten used to it, then you can move it a little bit to the side, somewhere that's still very easy to reach and along your walkways, but not necessarily in the middle of your kitchen counter. So it does not have to be in the middle forever. But starting there definitely helps make it a habit much easier. But here are some other ways that you can remember to check your action file. So you knew I was going to say this one, right? Just creating a habit of checking it. Easier said than done, right? So some ways that I like to make creating habits easier is, for example, tie it to something that you already do. Like if you make coffee every morning, or a tea person, if you make tea every morning, then maybe while it's brewing, you browse through your to-dos and just see, okay, well, is there anything that I need to make sure that I do today or within the next few days? That way you're tying it to the habit of, okay, coffee's brewing. So I'm already like brewing my coffee. Let's check the action file. Maybe if you're more of a weekend person, maybe you do a Saturday morning where you walk the dog every Saturday morning. Maybe you walk the dog, and when you come in from the dog as he's drinking water and you've gotten the leash settled, then you go right over your to-dos and just pull out the ones that need to be done that week, right? Or if you're a night owl, maybe Sunday night, you prep for the week. You write out your to-do list every Sunday night. And that way, you know, this week, these are the things that I need to make sure that get done. And you browse your to-dos at that time. So tying the habits to something that you're already doing, right? So maybe Sunday night, it's right before sleep or right after dinner. Maybe Saturday morning, it's right after that dog walk. Maybe it's when the coffee brews. Tying it to what you're already doing, though, very helpful. Next, schedule reminders. You knew this one would come up as well, right? We all have plenty of reminders in our lives, so we don't want to overschedule reminders. But when it's new, sometimes it's helpful until you've gotten into the habit. So with scheduling reminders, you can do like a recurring calendar event. Most of our digital calendars now, you can set an event to automatically happen at the same day of the week or the same time each day and just automatically fill until a certain date. So those recurring calendar events can really help as you're getting used to your action file. Using a reminder app on your phone. All the major phones come with an app that can pop up a reminder. So maybe at the right time that you want to be able to check it, maybe it pops up a reminder. There's also visual reminders though. So you don't have to just go digital with your reminders. Maybe you stick a Post-it on your coffee pot that says, check your to-do folder. So that way, right before you make coffee, you're going to see, oh my goodness, on the coffee pot, it's got the Post-it. That's right. I'll pull it off to make my coffee. I'll do my to-do folder. And once I've made my coffee, I'll stick it right back on for tomorrow. You could do a Post-it note on the bathroom mirror, wherever it is, but you can put visual reminders to check your action file. That is absolutely okay. So visual reminders are also So helpful for us out of sight, out of mind people. Sometimes digital can be a little hard if you're an out of sight, out of mind person because it's so easy to just dismiss the notification and pretend like it never happened. But if it's in your face, you can't miss it. Hence the out of sight, out of mind. Well, here, if you are an out of sight, out of mind person, are some ways to make sure that those really hot button to-dos aren't forgotten. My favorite way to do this is when you have, you browse your to-do folder, right? You figured out, okay, what's a high priority? What do I need to do before the next time I check my action file, or I'll have big consequences? Well, when you do that, the things that are super high priority that you need to make sure to do before the next time, I take a binder clip and I just clip that pile of papers to the front of my action file. That way I see on my action file, I see these papers are here. That means there's something high priority to do, right? So if there's a paper on the front, that means, okay, I'm not done yet. If there's no paper on the front, that means there's nothing in my action file to do folder right now that's going to catch fire if I don't do it right this moment. So my goal is to get all papers off the front. If I see a paper on there, I'm like, okay, note to self, have to do that either right now or as soon as possible because my goal is to get it to where there's no papers on the front. And that can actually help turn it into a game sometimes too, which is nice. But you could clip it to the front of your action file so that way those hot items are visible. You don't have to do it for all of your to-do items because that might be a lot. Sometimes it's stuff that does not need to be done soon. But in the front is great. Sometimes if you have your action file near a cork board on the wall, one of those bulletin boards, or maybe just get a clear wall pocket, you can put anything that's hot that needs to be done on the cork board in that wall pocket. So you see it's near the action file. So you're still remembering that it's part of the action file, but you see what's super important to do right now. You could also they do sell clear hanging file folders. So you could do a clear hanging file folder for that front folder. And then you would see that in the front, you see, okay, there's papers in there. If there's papers in that folder, then I need to remember to do them and get busy with it. So those are some of the ways that I deal with the out of sight, out of mind. Now I've got a number of other different ways that I share often with the Pathfinders and that I've got listed in the Paper Path course because your action file is actually milestone 1 in the Paper Path course. So if you ever do decide to do the Paper Path course, you've already got milestone 1 done, which is really nice, right? You start off ahead. But I do share some even more ideas about out of sight, out of minders, how to keep those top of mind, how to turn things into a game and all that good stuff in there. But that should get you going, right? So I'm going to hop over to the chat before I cover my last little tip, well, big tip for making sure that you remember it and that you get stuff done. All right. So let's go over the comments really quickly. 1 second. I just want to, there's a user in here that's just spamming. So I'm going to just block them really quickly. I made it to the big time. I've got more spammers. Yay. That means you're getting noticed, right? Okay. So Lovely Marie says, love that idea of clipping to the front of the action file or sticking it to the fridge. Good one. Yeah. Put it by the PC with a sticky note on the screen about the file. Put your reminder there. Yeah, right? There's so many ways that we can remind ourselves until it becomes a habit. And I will tell you that you will probably feel like just changing things a bit from the action file and maybe, okay, well, instead of having them just all be actions, I'm also going to put, 5 folders that are just labeled bank statements and, whatever else in my action file, or somehow getting off track with the core principles of the action file. You're going to be tempted to do that. I will tell you, you will probably find that it will be very hard to be successful with the action file if you do. So while it feels like it's such a small thing, if you do start adding a lot of folders to the action file that are not action folders, if you start adding a lot of folders to the action file that also need to be checked, so if you have to pay, to call, to do, then that's going to make the action file harder. If you start adding too many folders to the action file where you have more than 10, it's going to make it harder. So even though you're tempted to change some of those core foundations of the action file, I'm telling you right now, don't. Just try it for a little bit. Try it for a month or so with the way that's intended and see if it works. And then once you've given something an honest try, that's a great time to make an adjustment. But just don't adjust from the very beginning, because most likely you will find that you just have a hard time getting it to work if you aren't doing some of those foundations. So I will warn you that ahead of time. And it is okay if you do it. Just recognize you do it and then undo it and try it again. All right. I get that all the time. The whole, okay, well, I adjusted it. That's why it's not working for me when it's working for so many of the other people. The other Pathfinders, it's not working for me, but now I see why. So, and then once you adjust back to the foundations, it's amazing. I hear all the time, oh, wow, it's working so well for me now. It just took a while to get there. So never feel embarrassed, though, if you do something and it doesn't work. Just try again, right? Pick yourself up, try again. All right, so the last part of how to make sure that you remember your action file: celebrate. Celebrate your successes. And I cannot stress this enough, because we forget to do this, and that is why papers are miserable, right? There's so many of them, and we never celebrate the successes that we have. So if you set up a habit of celebrating yourself for every small step you take with your action file and your papers, then you will start to retrain your brain that, you know what? This is not that hard. It's actually kind of fun. I'm kind of good at it, because you've set up this new way of thinking. Because you will stumble sometimes. We all do. I do all the time. You will stumble. When you trip up, restart, just do it again. Get started back from the beginning if you need to, if it's a system or wherever you left off. But celebrate yourself for every small step along the way, and your brain will realize, okay, well, this is not that bad. And you might even start looking forward to it if you're celebrating yourself with all these small steps. Because when we're doing the small steps instead of a huge project, that's a lot more celebrations, right? That's, 15 little celebrations on the way to the end of this project to make it like an automatic feeling of success, versus waiting until you're at the very end of the project and get one celebration. So celebrate each small step, and it literally changes your mind. And share your accomplishments with people. Celebrate yourself out loud with others, and it'll inspire them, as well as really let that celebration sink in for you. So like one of our Path members and Paper Path course people said, she said, Lenore, she said, before joining the course, I was completely overwhelmed. Now, even if I'm interrupted, I know exactly where to pick up again. The step-by-step approach, it's given me structure to keep moving through the process. Do it, you won't regret it, Lenore. And it's so true. When you break it down into small steps, you don't get lost in the process and forget where you were. And it makes it feel a lot easier to get through. It's not so overwhelming. All right, in the chat area, I wanted to say, Marcia says, this is good, a post-it reminder on the door leading to the garage where I will get into my car, or tape it to the steering wheel. Ooh, I like that. Yes. Jenny says, you're very helpful. Thank you so much. I like clipping it to the front of the action file as well. How many milestones are there in the Paper Path course? Ooh, good question. Let me pull up. I think I actually have the list of them. Here we go. All right, so here are the different milestones within the Paper Path course. So there are 5 main milestones, right? So we've got incoming papers, because incoming papers is your action file. So that's the first milestone, and you've already done it. It's the foundation of your system, though. We've got files. So those would be your short-term and long-term files. including our self-purging files, which I love. That's something that is kind of unique that you won't see in a lot of places. You've got your important papers, and that one's super easy. That's actually using the Spark Life Binder if you wanted the shortcut. And I also teach you to build your own Spark Life Binder if you did not want to purchase it. Either way is fine. So you've got either do it yourself or grab one that's already done. Either way. Sorting, if you have a ton of papers to sort, or if sorting is just stressful for you and you want to get through it faster and easier, then in the sorting session, I teach you my special onion sort method. So the onion method, you might have heard me talk about it before a little bit, but the onion method is a way to make sorting. It sort of takes your brain out of the system of sorting and makes it so much faster, so much easier, won't stress you out and wear you out as fast, and you'll actually get done faster, which is so nice. And then we wrap it up with the special papers. So those would be like taxes and memorabilia papers, receipts. I feel like I'm missing one. We also talk about some of the other like important papers like caregiver papers, things like that are also included for like some of the special papers are if you have this unique situation, then here's what you do. But yeah, so that way you have all of the papers in your life covered. And let me see if I can. Oh, there I am. So, and the reason why it's sort of I do those different sections and I have sort of the paper path system is when we're looking at our papers. Whenever I'm working with somebody on papers, the first thing that I always do is try to stop the incoming papers and new and active papers that need to be, separated, and we need to make sure they don't get lost. We need to make sure that they're not adding to the problem. You need a system for that before you start with any of your other systems. And that's why we do the challenge, because then you have that first foundation, that new papers are not adding to the problem, right? And you can trust that the most important papers, the things that you still have to do something with, are safe. So you won't feel like they're going to get lost as you deal with your other papers. So the incoming and active papers, that's your action file. That's also milestone 1 of the paper path course. That's the core foundation. That's always what I do first. Then I like to do the emergency papers and information. So if you've not already seen that I do a challenge for the emergency medical folder, the emergency medical folder is what I use for those emergency papers and information. And that's also part of the Spark Life Binder, and it's part of the paper path course. So the paper path course sets all of these up for you. So this pyramid, that is the paper path course, but this is the order that I like to do things in order of importance for managing your papers. So once you've got your new and active papers all set aside so they are safe, they're not adding to the problem, then we want your emergency papers. So if an emergency happens, you have your medical information right there. So you can go to the hospital and have all that you need. Then we do the important papers. That would be the other essential papers, the emergency papers, the important information. Make sure that that's at your fingertips. And that's when we talk a lot about the Spark Life Binder. So we make sure that all of your important paperwork is at your fingertips and you know where that is. Then we start to really fill in our filing system. Now, I usually build the filing system a little earlier, but you don't have to fill it in until after you've got those important papers started. But the files would be your short-term files and your long-term files. Your long-term is your archive, your short-term, those are the self-purging monthly files. So those are all the other papers. You've already got your system for important information. As you're sorting through papers, you're putting it in your file system, you're putting it in your short-term files, you're putting it in your important life papers, your life binder. So all of these structures are already built before you start the sorting, which is helpful because then you're not worried about, yes, but where are these going to go, right? So you've got the structure set up in that first section. And then we finish it off with special papers. So your special papers are unique to you, and they're probably going to be the papers that are things like your taxes, caregiver papers, memorabilia papers, all of those unique things. And then the path membership So we have the Paper Path course. The Path membership is just the help that you need to get to the top. So if you would like extra help, if you ever feel like you're blocked or not motivated or have questions or just want to get there faster, that's what the Path membership is for. It's just to help you get through all of those steps and anything else that you need to do in your life. Like anything productive is appropriate for a lot of what we do in the Path membership. That's kind of, hopefully that clarifies a little bit more about what is the Paper Path course versus the membership and why it is structured the way that it is and how it all fits together and what's in it. So let me know if you still have any questions about it, though. I would be glad to answer any questions. Let's see. So Arnett says, I took a tablet and I made a weekly list of things happening for my hubby and me. Oh, that's awesome. She says he jots things he needs to do so he doesn't forget. I find it easier than doing a to-do list. I like that. I really like that. That's great. Jeannie says, I've been unable to download the printable thing that you put on the front of each folder. Okay. Hopefully you know what I'm referring to. I do. And anybody who's not already downloaded that, make sure that you do, because it's only available until tonight, the end of the night. So if you already are registered, then you can go to that challenge schedule page and grab it there. Or you can look at the replay email that went out last night. But yes, she's talking about our folder cheat sheets that look like this. So, Jeannie, if you can do me a favor, because there are so many different things on your computer that could be causing you to have trouble downloading it, do me a favor and shoot me an email. hello@susannak.com and just let me know, hey, I'm having trouble downloading this. Can you help me out? And we can definitely help you out. Myself or Stephanie, who helps with the emails, one of us will be able to help you with that, because we want to make sure that you have everything that you need. Cheryl says, I'm trying to handle taxes for 2 years plus 4 estates papers to get rid of. Ooh, yes. Well, the onion method sorting and the tax section of the special papers in the Paper Path course, I think those would be really helpful for you, because that sounds like you are juggling a lot. My goodness, sending hugs. Yeah, Arnett says, I also put appointments and other things in her weekly list. And Joanne H says, great idea. I haven't done that while doing the Spark Life Binder. What kind of celebrating? Any kind of celebrating works, actually. So it could be anything from posting in the Path member Facebook group, hey, I finished milestone 1, or I finished a page of my Spark Life Binder. I emptied out 10 pages from my to enter folder, whatever it is. You can post it in the Facebook group so we can all celebrate with you and tell you what a great job you did. You could also announce it during any of our group member, our Pathfinder events. You could celebrate privately if you want to by, okay, well, maybe now I gift myself, I worked on my action file for 30 minutes. I'm going to gift myself 30 minutes of me time and read a book or go for a walk. Maybe I will set a lunch date with my friend. Whatever it is, sometimes just the act of giving yourself a hug and telling yourself that you're amazing and do a little happy dance, even that little act right there will change the way that you start to think. So whatever form of celebrating you decide to do, it all works as long as you are directing it towards your accomplishment and celebrating the fact that you did it, that it's done and you did the work, and that it was good. Lovely Marie says, I have the Spark Life Binder, Caregiver, and Medical Binder, which has helped extremely to organize. It took the stress out of my life for sure. Oh, yay. Yes, I've seen during our group hikes, you've been working on that Spark Life Binder and doing great work. I love it. No problem. Lori has to head out and she'll watch the rest later. Robin says, good point. I'm always trying to tweak things to personalize it for me. I'll try to keep in mind using your recipe before I adjust and wonder why it doesn't turn out the same. Right? Absolutely. And that's a great way to explain it, like a recipe. Whenever I try a new recipe, I try it the way they say first, and then I adjust. But I don't know what it's going to turn out like if I don't try it their way first. Sometimes I might be adjusting something that will mess the whole thing up. So yes, good way of saying it. No problem, Arnett. She says, I have a post-it reminder where our car keys hang. Yay! To make it easy to see what needs to go with this. That's a good one. I love it. Well, you are doing absolutely amazing today. And yeah, so I will do a recap in just a second. our next steps for you are, if you've not registered for the challenge, make sure to register, because that way you get access to that challenge schedule page, and anything you might have missed is right there on that challenge schedule page. So when you register, you will have the whole challenge right there for a limited time, just until next week, but you can still get access. So make sure you register, and you will also get the free download of the folder labels. I'll give you that for free. Once that free download goes away, then it's only available in the Paper Path course. But that's one example actually of some of the things that I give you in the Paper Path course to make life easier. We've got the folder labels, we've got a paper policy, so you never forget where you decided to file a specific type of paper or how long you decided to keep it once you've made a decision. It records all of your decisions, so you don't have to question your decisions ever again. So that's the paper policy. I have blueprints of, if this is your personality type, personality quiz, a quick one. If this is your personality type, then this is exactly how to set up your file folders in your archive files and stuff. Exactly like this for your personality type. Tell you what to label them, what order to put them in. So there are a number of things within the Paper Path course that I like to share to make your job easier. And I also, within the Paper Path course, break things down into the small steps. You know me and my small steps. So even though the course is digital, I do have a workbook. Here, I'll show you right there. I have a workbook, and a reminder, you can go into the store, SusannaK.com, click on shop, and get the Paper Path course. And when you do, then right now you will get the welcome party bonus to give you a fast start with the Paper Path course. You can also get a free month of the Path membership if you're not already a member. And there are other bonuses that I like to sprinkle in throughout to the people who grab their Paper Path course early. But it comes with a downloadable PDF workbook as well that matches the online course. So if you prefer to work on paper instead of being a digital person, that is okay. You can get the Paper Path course, download the workbook, put it in a binder so you can just do it on paper for the most part, and it'll show you the links to videos. So you can still watch the videos online, but then the rest you can do on paper, because I'm a pretty big paper person myself, so I completely understand. But I have like a bunch of different videos that I share to help explain some of the more complex thoughts in a super quick way. This is a presentation about the onion method, the sorting that I always hear is probably one of my most popular methods that I share. The onion method and the B5 method are two of my most popular methods. I told you about the resource downloads to make things easier, including like the paper policy, how long to keep important documents guide, all that good stuff. And then you probably can't see this too well on the screen, but this will give you kind of an overview of, this is how I break down the steps within the Paper Path course. And you can do this too. Whenever you have a large project, I say break it down into small steps. So when I say break it down into small steps, this is one way you can do that, right? So what is the smallest bite you can take of the project next? So within the Paper Path course, I do that for you. You know, this is one of the sections, the use it in the incoming papers milestone. And the steps are broken down into step 1, watch the video. So the video, I think that one maybe is under 5 minutes, but your step is just watch the video. And then your next step, take one small handful of your most recent papers and file them in your action file. That's it, just practicing, just one small handful in your action file. And then step 3, repeat. Continue with another handful until you no longer want to anymore. And then we'll be sorting more papers in the quick sort session. And then there's a bonus. You know, this is the one where on that bonus that I give them is the download for those folders. So you see how I broke it down into, okay, well, watch the video, do a tiny bite of practice until you don't want to anymore, because we don't want this to be like awful and stressful. We'll come back to more of it later. We'll do more practice later. And then there's a bonus to help you. So whenever you're breaking anything down into small steps, this is a good method for it. What's the smallest next step you can do? And then each milestone that I have, milestones are kind of our sections. They're kind of like a chapter if it was a book. So a milestone is kind of like a chapter where you're doing similar things. And at the end of the chapter, you would have either built your action file or put together your short-term files, whatever it is. So for example, this milestone, I just have one checklist for each milestone with all of the steps. So you can just double check. Did I do that? Yep. Did I do that? Yep. And then you're done with the milestone. And I even throw in some celebrations during the Paper Path course. I have little badges that you can earn and just little ways to celebrate you as you go through, because I think that's so important. So that's kind of a little taste of the Paper Path course. And then if you're using the Path membership along with it, you've got the time blocked on your calendar to actually get it done, which is really nice too, right? Getting it on the calendar is the hard part. So hopefully you can join me the Paper Path course if you're interested. Like I said, you can go to SusannaK.com, click on shop, it'll be there, or the link in the description. But the bonus right now, if you grab your Paper Path course right now, is the welcome party. Plus, you can try out the Path membership if you've not tried it yet for 1 month free and just see if it's for you. Let's see. So Sonia says, yay. She says, I'm celebrating actually taking time for this course while going through a folder of all the name labels you get in the mail. Yay! Woot, 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 woot. She says, hooray. Yes. Awesome. Melody asks, in the Paper Path course, can you do the assessment anytime? Yeah. So with the assessments in the course, they're super quick little, answer a few questions. And the reason I do the assessments is because as you're going through the course, if there's ever a time that you feel stuck or overwhelmed, or when you finish the course, part of celebrating is when you look back at where you really were, how you were feeling, and how you described life at the beginning, and you look back at that, it helps you see how far you've come. Because a lot of times with papers, there are just so many papers that it's hard to actually see the change sometimes. And having in your own words that change can make a huge difference. So that's the main purpose of those assessments, just making sure that you're tracking along the way what your progress has been and just enjoying it. So but yes, you can do the assessments anytime, but I do like to try to finish them at the end of each milestone if possible, at least super fast near the ending time. And Lovely Marie says, is there any way to label the tabs for a CEO admin when setting up the action file, or is it the same no matter what? In the Paper Path course, actually, with the action file I do, it's pretty much the same no matter what for CEO or administrator. The administrators are just going to have a harder time sticking to just 10 folders. The CEOs will have an easier time with that. As far as the file folders, though, in the Paper Path course, I do talk about how, like, if you are a mix of CEO and admin, which are rather different. Okay, well, what's your blueprint like? And I share, how to do each personality type's blueprint and how to adjust if you need to. So good question. Kathleen says, gotta run. Thanks for another informative day. You're so welcome. Well, we need to wrap up anyways. I agree. Hopefully you really enjoyed today. And yeah, make sure that you register for the challenge if you've not already. That way you can get the action file guide download. You can get the free action file tabs and access to everything from the challenge before it goes away. It comes down. So make sure to register. If you do want the Paper Path course or the membership, SusannaK.com, go to the store. If it's right for you at this time in your life, great. If it's not, that is okay. Either way, you have done amazing this week. All right. You have done so amazing this week that you are going to have impacted the rest of your life by setting up this paper system. Because once you get used to using your action file, then your future will be different. It will be less stressful because you will never lose an important paper again, right? It will be less stressful because new papers are not going to create piles around your house. So trust yourself, trust the process. If it gets hard at any point, push through, just restart. If you drop the ball, it's okay. But it's absolutely worth it. I guarantee it is absolutely worth it. You will have it, like, you could do it in your sleep. You will feel that like that in no time. And your future self is going to thank you for it forever. You've got this. Keep being absolutely amazing, beautiful. You're so welcome, Sandy. Have a great day too. You too, Crystal. And yeah, and I'll see my Path members Thursday during the public and the Path member Thursday check-in. And I'll see all the rest of you tomorrow during the public Thursday talk at 11 a.m. Eastern here on YouTube. I love you. Bye, beautiful.